In a few short days, the Rumble playlist will be a relic of Destiny's past. It's been a steady and consistent offering in the Crucible realm since the official launch of Destiny 1 back in September of 2014, over 8 years ago. And I definitely have some mixed feelings about the playlist's departure, and I'm wondering how you all might feel about it as well. So let's unpack it a little bit, shall we? In that massive PvP TWAB that dropped recently, Bungie offered a clear explanation for why the playlist would be discontinued. They unpacked the data that they're seeing internally that shows that Rumble is not overall a very popular playlist, and it isn't as populated as the other offerings. And since their goal for the future of PvP is to strictly limit the number of activities in order to focus the player population into specific arenas, that means that some playlists are on the chopping block. The idea is that Bungie wants their matchmaking systems to be able to function as designed, and honestly, they work best with a healthy player pool to pull from. And since Rumble isn't overall all that popular, it's being removed as a regular offering, and instead it's being tossed in with a playlist of rotating game modes, which means that we'll probably only see it come around once every, 5 to 6 weeks or so. Now, first let me say that this makes perfect sense. I completely understand the why here, but I have some mixed feelings that ultimately make me feel sad that this is happening. I'm definitely on board with Bungie's plan to reduce the number of PvP activities that are offered and therefore keep the player populations up in each playlist since we won't be spread so thin. Also, when you reduce the number of playlists, it also makes it more approachable, I think, for especially newer players or more casual players who sometimes might feel overwhelmed when they open up the Crucible tab right now in the directory and they see all of these offerings. It can be a little daunting, it can be a little overwhelming, and when we sort of minimize that and make it a little bit more approachable, I think that people might feel like there's a space for them. So that's great, I'm all in for that. But Rumble has been such a relief for me this season. It has been so fun for me to just unplug, not feel the sometimes unbearable weight of lobby balancing dragging me down, and to have a playlist that's great for leveling up crafted weapons too, with how quickly matches are over. And even though Bungie says that not a lot of people are playing Rumble, hey, my matchmaking times in Rumble are lightning quick, presumably because the game only needs to find 6 people total. So Rumble has been a great place for me personally because I get to have that option when Control is feeling like garbage, as it often is for me these days. I'm constantly dealing with bad connections, terrible lobby bouncing, and maybe the worst part about Control right now for me is the map rotation. I go from Disjunction to Eternity to Vostok to Widow's Court, back to Disjunction again. It's really tiring to have these enormous maps all the time. And conversely, I could just go to Rumble, get into a match in half the time that it takes to get a Control match, and then load into a match that's going to be over quickly, and I can test out some new weapons and builds just to see how they feel in straight up duels. And that's another great thing about Rumble. If I want to really get to know a weapon, Control is a poor place for that right now. The pace in Control is not what it has typically been in the history of Destiny. Right now, this season especially, the pace in Control has slowed down to a slog. People aren't playing loose and fast. They're playing slow and back for the most part. They're team shooting with pulses, scout rifles, and the top player in the lobby often only has 20 to 25 kills. And mini matches go to time, and the number of raw 1v1 duels that you had during that time is probably in the single digits. But Rumble? Hey, Rumble's different, baby. If I want to see how a new SMG or sidearm or hand cannon performs toe-to-toe against another primary weapon, then I can load up Rumble and have 15 to 20 1v1 duels within 8 minutes of gameplay. And that right there has a ton of value to me personally. In an average Control match these days, I'm finishing the game with, 7 to 10 final blows with my primary weapon on average. The rest of my kills are split between my super, melees, grenades, my special weapon, heavy ammo. But Rumble is a lot different. In Rumble matches, I'm finishing a match that's much shorter with double the primary kills. I'll win a Rumble match with 20 kills, and 15 of those will be my primary weapon. So in terms of getting to know a weapon, its recoil pattern, its dueling potential, its weaknesses, all of that is much easier to gauge in just a few Rumble matches. So looping back to Bungie's overall goal here to not split up the player base too much, I think keeping Rumble would honestly not detract from that at all. If the player population in Rumble is so low, like they say that it is, then I don't see how having it up would be a detriment to the other playlists. I know they're trying to simplify and consolidate the Crucible menu, and I totally get that, but I can't help but feel like the removal of Rumble is a net loss for PvP lovers. It also takes away the one playlist where farming for a great Trials weapon really pays off, because in Rumble, I'm often using my Forgiveness or my Shira's Wrath or other Trials weapons due to the fact that Alacrity is always active, since I'm the only person on my fire team. It gave that perk sort of some added value in PvP, and I'm going to kind of miss the nuance that brings to the PvP experience. So there you have it. That's why I feel a little sad about the removal of a playlist that's been a staple in Destiny for closing in on a decade. I'm going to miss it, and I'm wondering how you feel about it as well. How much Rumble have you played personally this season and in previous ones too? Did you enjoy Rumble? Did you find the same value in the playlist as I did? Will its removal affect you and your Crucible routine at all? Let me know in the comments section. I do enjoy reading through those. And make sure that you stay tuned to the channel for more PvP tips and other things when the new season drops and we start diving into the competitive divisions. So thanks so much for watching this video. Please feel free to leave a like on it only if you enjoyed it. And if you want to consider doing something really easy and totally free that would be a big help to me personally, you could consider clicking on the link to my first video on my new channel. I'll put that link in the description and in the pinned comment. It's just a side hobby. It's not gaming. It's a fun little distraction, really. A channel where I talk about whiskey history, whiskey reviews, cocktails. It would be super helpful if you could help me get that channel up off the ground. Pull up the video, leave a like on it, or comment on it. That would give it a boost in the YouTube algorithm and help me out immensely. The video is a blind ranking of 5 of the most common entry-level bourbons, and I had a lot of fun making it. So, anyways, thanks so much for your support. Love you guys. Be warm and well-fed, my friends, and I hope to catch you in the Crucible.